The years spent in the frenzied rhythm of the metropolis had turned into a relentless test for us. Each passing day, we became increasingly aware of how the city's hustle and bustle suffocated us, depriving us of the ability to breathe deeply. The endless noise, the constant rush, and the relentless pace of life left us drained, as though life itself was slipping away, leaving no room for us to truly live. We were two lost travelers searching for a quiet harbor, a place of peace and harmony. To our surprise, that harbor was closer than we had ever imagined. It was a quaint, cozy village nestled along the shore of a serene lake. From the very first day of our vacation there, it felt like the scattered pieces of our lives were finally starting to come together. Surrounded by the gentle sound of waves and the melodious songs of birds, we were able to accomplish tasks that had once felt insurmountable. The silence became our ally, no longer broken by distractions, and time moved at a soothing, deliberate pace. Each moment seemed precious, as though life was inviting us to savor it. An unexpected discovery brought another layer of joy. Even in this remote village, a stable internet connection was possible. By 2020, our company had transitioned to remote work, making it feasible for Luna and me to embrace this new reality. I managed advertising campaigns while Luna crafted beauty through her designs, all in the tranquil embrace of nature. The determination forged in the gray monotony of city life quickly transformed into action. One day, as if by fate's gentle nudge, we stumbled upon an advertisement for a plot of land for sale. It was as if the universe had designed this place specifically for us, a picturesque lake, a quiet village, reliable connectivity, and even a small shop nearby. Everything we needed was perfectly gathered in one location. To our delight, the plot came with a house in excellent condition, left behind by previous tenants who had moved to the city. It was ready to welcome its new owners. It all felt magical. Assistance seemed to materialize effortlessly. The realtor swiftly handled all the necessary paperwork, secured a favorable mortgage, and arranged for signatures and congratulations. Before we knew it, we were standing on the doorstep of our cozy new home, bags in hand, barely able to believe our good fortune. The first few days were a whirlwind of unpacking the belongings we had accumulated over years of urban life. We disposed of the old, forgotten items left behind by the previous tenants, while Luna patiently cleaned and transformed some into charming decorative elements. Piece by piece, our new life began to take shape. To ease the transition, we took a week off work. Thankfully, our boss was understanding, congratulating us on the move and granting us time to settle in. He only asked that we keep an eye on the advertising campaigns, which was manageable by devoting a few quiet evening hours to the laptop. By the third day, a sense of lightness and calm enveloped us. The chaos of unpacking was behind us, and everything seemed to fall into place. The house had been cleaned, and there was no urgent need for further work. Luna and I sat down with cups of tea, discussing our plans for the future. Luna decided to get a head start on her work to stay on schedule, while I opted to step outside and assess what needed to be done around the yard. As I wandered through the property, I began noticing small imperfections. The former residents, it seemed, had neglected the house in their final year. Minor flaws, once easy to ignore, now stood out as issues requiring attention. "Hello, neighbor," a deep, friendly voice called from behind the fence. Startled, I turned to see a middle-aged man walking along the street. "Hello," I replied, giving a small wave. "Haven't seen you here before. Are you related to the folks who used to live here?" "Oh, no," I said. "I just bought the house. We've just moved in. I'm taking a look around." "Ah, got it," the man said, stepping closer to the fence and extending a hand. "I'm Ethan. We're neighbors now." I shook his hand. "Nice to meet you, Ethan. Come by for tea sometime," he said with a grin. "Maybe a barbecue. Don't put it off too long. You'll find me at the house with the green roof, just 2 doors down." He gestured to his property and continued, "I'll tell you all about the best places to buy things around here." "Oh, and avoid the whiskey at the store. No one drinks it here. I laughed. No whiskey drinkers around? Not quite, Ethan chuckled. We make our own around here. Scarlet and Aurora have their own distilleries, and their stuff's better than anything you'll find in a shop. You'll see. Sounds great. I'll stop by once I've settled in. Good. See you then, Ethan said, waving as he turned to continue his walk. Just then, Luna stepped out of the house to check on me, completely unaware that she could be seen from the yard. She was wearing a light, nearly sheer t-shirt and no bra, along with short shorts. Her toned figure was unmistakable, and Ethan's gaze lingered as she approached me. "How's it going out here?" she asked. "Just meeting the neighbors," I replied, gesturing toward Ethan. Luna, realizing she had an audience, gasped in surprise and quickly retreated back into the house. "You've got a beautiful wife," Ethan remarked with a grin. "Thanks," I said, deflecting with a polite smile. Ethan chuckled and waved again. "I'll leave you to it. See you later." As he walked away, I reflected on his compliment. It was flattering, and I felt a small sense of pride, though I didn't dwell on it. Instead, my thoughts turned to something more pressing, a housewarming party. Luna and I hadn't celebrated our move yet, and it seemed like a perfect opportunity to get to know our new neighbors. When I brought up the idea to Luna, she was immediately on board. With the weekend still ahead of us, we had time to organize something simple. Plus, it was a great way to build connections in the village to be by the end of the day, I gathered plenty of information about our new community, thanks to Ethan. He introduced me to several of his friends, including David and Matthew, both older than me but easy to talk to. They explained the rhythm of life in the village, what people did for entertainment, and even took me to meet Scarlet, one of the women known for her homemade liquor. Scarlet, a voluptuous woman with a youthful face, offered me a taste of her signature tincture. Meanwhile, Luna and I prepared for the housewarming party. We dragged a heavy folding table into the courtyard. It seemed on the verge of collapsing at every step, but ultimately stood firm. We set it with salads, snacks, and planned to cook steaks for the main course. Neighbors started arriving an hour before the official start time. Ethan was the first to show up, bringing along David and Matthew. Scarlet and her husband soon followed, but Aurora, the other distiller, wasn't invited. Ethan explained that Scarlet and Aurora had a rivalry, and keeping them apart was essential to avoid drama. The early arrivals were eager to start drinking, which Luna and I didn't mind. We welcomed everyone warmly, toasted with a glass to celebrate the housewarming, and got the festivities underway. I manned the grill, cooking steaks, while Luna entertained our guests at the table. She answered questions about our life, work, and future plans, winning everyone over with her charm. Ethan occasionally came over to the grill, holding 2 glasses in hand, offered me a drink while the rest of the guests continued chatting and laughing at the table. His wife, along with the other neighbors, seemed to be enjoying themselves thoroughly. The evening was a success. It was our first real celebration in the village, and a chance to feel truly at home. The warmth of the people, the shared stories, and the simple pleasures of good food and drink marked the beginning of a new chapter for us in this peaceful lakeside haven. As I stood near the barbecue, Ethan made sure I wasn't left out of the fun. Scarlet and her husband, Luke, eventually joined us. Luke, a short and quiet man, lingered near the grill with me after having a drink, while the others were busy making noise at the table. We had a pleasant, calm conversation that contrasted the lively chaos around us. As night fell and the meat was finally cooked, the gathering reached a new level of looseness. Everyone had drunk heavily by then, and the atmosphere was relaxed, almost festive. There was laughter and chatter, and the men often joked about the women. The jokes, albeit vulgar, were met with uproarious approval, amplified by the alcohol. I noticed a peculiar dynamic unfold at the table. Occasionally, one of the men, Ethan or one of his friends, would sit with the women, his hand casually slipping from a shoulder to a chest. The women didn't seem to mind. They laughed and continued their conversations as if nothing had happened. Luke, meanwhile, sat beside me, airing quiet complaints that seemed to hint at his wife's indifference toward him. I tried to dismiss the thought, chalking it up to drunken rambling, but my unease grew when I saw him next to Luna, his arm draped casually over her shoulder, his hand sliding briefly to her chest. Luna, who had removed her bra earlier because of the heat, showed no visible reaction to the touch. I tensed, unsure of how to process what I was seeing. Luna appeared unaffected, laughing along with the others, and I decided against making a scene. I had always avoided conflict and didn't want to disrupt the evening. At one point, I noticed Scarlett linking arms with Matthew, one of Ethan's friends. They left the table discreetly, heading toward the garden. Curious, I asked Luke if he knew where they went. He waved dismissively, suggesting they were just taking a walk for some fresh air. While everyone else was busy joking and drinking, my curiosity got the better of me. I decided to follow the couple toward the lake. As I approached the gate, I heard Ethan's voice behind me, inviting Luna to dance. Someone had brought a speaker, and the music filled the night air. I hesitated, torn between staying to watch over Luna and continuing to investigate Scarlett and Matthew. Trusting my wife, I headed toward the lake. What I saw confirmed my suspicions. Hidden in the soft grass near the lake, Scarlett and Matthew had succumbed to their passion. They didn't notice me watching, and I made no attempt to approach them. My heart raced, a mixture of shock and confirmation. Scarlett's secret meetings and flirtations had now culminated in this moment, far from the table and prying eyes. When their tryst ended, I overheard their conversation as they got up. Matthew helped Scarlett stand, his gestures tender yet confident. "Well, that's it," Scarlett said, her voice tinged with satisfaction. "Call Luke again and send him over. Otherwise, I'm done for tonight." Matthew laughed. "And if he doesn't go, then he won't get anything else from me," she replied, laughing as they made their way back. Drunk and reeling from what I'd witnessed, I returned to the yard, avoiding Ethan and the returning couple. When I arrived, the scene had shifted. Luna was dancing, her shirt slightly lifted, revealing hints of skin. David stood close behind her, his hands hovering just a little too low. They quickly adjusted when I appeared, and I dismissed it as a drunken misinterpretation. Soon, Ethan called David over, and the two spoke in hushed tones. I couldn't hear what they discussed, but it seemed unimportant. Luke, still seated, poured me another drink, and I accepted it reluctantly. "How fun it is tonight," Luna said, suddenly leaning on my side, her speech slurred. "Let's take a break," I suggested. "Everything okay?" "Everything's fine," she replied, smiling. "I haven't relaxed like this in ages." She clinked her glass against mine and took another sip. "Are the men behaving?" I asked lightly. Luna laughed, brushing off my concern. "Don't worry, love. I only love you. They're just fools." Her reassurances felt hollow, but I let it go, knowing there was no use impressing her while she was drunk. Later, Luke beckoned me aside, slurring his words. He leaned in conspiratorially. "Do you want Scarlett?" I pulled back, startled. "What? I'm married." "So what?" Luke shrugged, looking genuinely puzzled. "Everyone's married. Keep an eye on your Luna." Feeling uneasy, I returned to the table, only to stop dead in my tracks. Luna was sitting on David's lap, her lips locked on his neck, leaving a hickey. For a moment, the world stood still. The laughter and music faded into the background as rage boiled within me. I clenched my fists, every instinct screaming at me to put an end to this humiliation. Without a word, I marched over, my fist flying. The ensuing scuffle broke the festive mood, leaving everyone stunned. A week later, I put the house up for sale. I only saw Luna again in passing, her betrayal too deep to forgive.